what to do when life throws you a curveball. I had a little fun with this article. This was recently in our newsletter and used it from the perspective of refrigerator magnets, because why not? So the first one that I saw that started me on this thought process was, when something goes wrong in your life, just yell plot twist and move on. This is a refrigerator magnet that I saw, and I thought it was rather appropriate for thinking about life's transitions and when life throws you a curveball. And I don't mean to be irreverent with this, but it helps you to gain a little perspective, which is our theme today. So let's think about what that means. Well, first off, a great quote. I believe this is from Leo Tolstoy. The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. That can be really hard when you're thrown into a new situation in life, whether that's dealing with the death of a loved one, an inheritance, a divorce, happy things like having a baby, getting married. Anytime that life is changing and money is changing, it can feel really scary, and you probably will feel a lot like you need to do something, you need to control something, you need to be moving and doing. That's completely natural. But that's not always the best thing to do. Sometimes you need to have patience and let time run its course. I often show this graphic because it's so helpful to those who are in the midst of chaos or change. And that's to think of the stages of transition. When you're thinking about a change that you know is going to be coming, you start off in anticipation and you feel all of these feelings about leaning into the new change and what it might be like. You can go through a lot of different emotions at that time and a lot of different decisions, a lot of decision making. When the event finally happens, you go into ending stage. There can be some happiness, some joy, there can be some grief and some sense of loss. The part that gets everybody, though, is this big purple bubble called passage. Passage is a natural part of anything that we go through that's new. So passage, I kind of liken to being in a chrysalis. If you are a butterfly, your caterpillar changing to a butterfly, there's a time when you are in the chrysalis and it can be scary. There are possibilities, but there's also chaos and fear because things are changing. Very often in this big bubble, we feel like we need to be doing something. And why isn't this done yet? Why am I not to that orange bubble, that new normal? Well, know that passage takes time. Generally, it takes 3 to 5 years. Yes, really. And that doesn't mean that things are going to be chaotic or horrible for 3 to 5 years. Goodness, no. But it does indicate that you need to give yourself some patience and realize that the process takes time. And that's totally normal, and that's okay. Next quote from a refrigerator magnet that kind of goes along with this is, never make irrevocable decisions when tired or hungry. And she's peering into the fridge there, perhaps curious about some food. This quote reminds us that when we're in transition, we have periods where we're not at our best. Maybe we can liken it to getting hangry, if you've heard that term before. There are times when we're just not feeling quite at our best. And what we need to do is maybe take a rest, take a break. One of the tools that I'll use with clients in transition is called the decision-free zone, or DFZ. And part of that is a very cathartic brain dump. When you feel overwhelmed and foggy and just not sure what to do next, it can be very helpful to simply do what we call a brain dump. Put everything on paper with no type of judgment or organization, but just dump everything on a page. You walk away, take a breath. And when you come back, that's when you can start filing into these now, soon, and later categories. And I help clients with this to work through how to do this, because it can be helpful to have someone outside of your head to lead you through this process. The decision-free zone helps you to deal with that never do things when you are tired and hungry. It allows you to take a break, to put everything on one page, and to know that nothing is going to be missed and you don't have to do everything right now. And the third great quote that I want to share is, I believe, a Nelson Mandela quote. May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. Change can be very scary. I often liken it to a monster in a closet. Do you remember having that feeling when you were a kid? You were sure that there was a monster in your closet. But sometimes if a parent could come in and shine a light on the closet, you'd find out that the monster maybe was just a pair of socks. So helping to shine a light on what the current situation is can be really helpful when you're in a transition. There's another exercise that I use called What Has Changed? And this is a part of what this looks like. We talk about what's different, what's actually happening in your life, what's changing, right? Examples are looking at your income. Do you have sufficient income? Is the reliability of the income strong? And do you know where your income sources are? What's really helpful about this exercise is it addresses the emotion that's involved in any kind of change. It's not just numbers. We can look at the numbers and I can say, you're going to be fine. But if you don't feel that way, the numbers don't make any difference. So this helps to address, I'm feeling pretty fearful about my income sources. Once you can name it, you can address it, you can solve it. And we can look at the income sources, name them, and say, this is where each piece is coming from. And often that's like shining the light on the closet and saying, oh, that's just a pile of socks. So in summary, what to do when life throws you a curveball? Well, 3 suggestions to consider. Remember that change takes patience and time. Therefore, take breaks when necessary. And face the monster in the closet, perhaps with a friend or a guide who can help you to see what that monster really is and to address it together. I like to remember, as I said earlier, just when the caterpillar thought its world was ending, it changed into a butterfly. So although change can feel really scary and uncertain, it can also lead to beautiful things in the end.